Episode 178. Thank you all for joining us. We tried something a little different with the little nice little slate on full screen slate with our wonderful guests as well as some lovely music. It just didn't work out. There was no like fade and then dissolve, and it just did not work out like I planned. So everybody blamed that on me for that awkward beginning. As Joe will probably the first words out of his mouth. And Joe,
Jeff messed up. It's okay. That's okay. We forgive him. He's a great guy, and sometimes great guys, they make a lot of mistakes. They do things the wrong way, but we forgive him. We like him. He's tolerable on good days.
I'm okay.
Welcome to the show, everyone.
Welcome to the show. Indeed. Here's the deal. We are going to this is a fun show, packed show. It's our first guest of the year. And it's Swaggle House.
It is, and it's March. We've been a little lazy on the
for sure. You know what though? You guys have been entertained to say the least with a lot of things happening here. And unfortunately, we do have the passing of one of our close friends, Chet. But to kind of like make things worse, we got this message from his wife. We didn't even know he was married. Tiffany Amber Thiessen.
This is Tiffany Thiessen G-Pot, Chet's wife, and let me tell you, I am beyond livid. What kind of Mickey Mouse operation are you running over there at Comic Book Canon? News travels fast, even to California, and let me assure you, I did not hear about my husband's heroic sacrifice from you two. Chet would not have thrown himself into some digital gladiatorial arena to save your precious show without telling me. He may have been a passionate goofball, but he wasn't suicidal. The least you could have done was notify his next of kin. Instead, I find out through his fan club that my husband is gone. Unacceptable. Let me be perfectly clear. I will not stand for this. You will be hearing from my lawyers. Consider this a formal notice of intent to sue. You took my husband from me, and now you're gonna pay.
Yeah, so that's a big deal, Joe. We need a lawyer. And we need a lawyer fast. And out of the blue, I have one. What's up, buddy?
Hey, how you doing, man? What's your problems?
Okay, so Tiffany Amber Thiessen, are you familiar with her?
I'm not.
All right, well, she was in Saved by the Bell. She was married to Chet G-Pot. Are you familiar with him?
I'm not.
Well, he was our host, our correspondent. It was AI, but he died saving the canon. Are you familiar with Comic Book Canon?
I am.
Okay. Can we hire you to be our lawyer?
You can.
How much are your services? I can't deal with this. This is dumb. We're done. We didn't even have time to prepare. That's Michael Susi. He is our lawyer. He is on retainer. He's playing stupid just to play stupid. He's getting into characters, what he's doing right now, and it just didn't work. Mike, you're still in the background there. You can go. We'll talk later. Maybe we'll have you on next week.
That sounds great. Good luck.
Good day. Anyways, again, we're risk takers here. We try things and sometimes they just don't work. Like that cameo right there. But anyways, moving on. We do need some representation, Joe, because Tiffany Amber Thiessen, she's a heavyweight in the Hollywood community, and we do not have the resources, even though 15 million strong are watching us right now. So yeah, I don't know. Let's just hit the news. Is that what you want to do?
Yeah. I think we all have to kind of wait and see how things pan out. As far let the legal process take its own course, and hopefully we'll be okay. Worst thing could happen is we get sued and lose the canon somehow. But
pretty bad.
Let's hope that doesn't happen.
This is what we live for. This is what the people live for. And if anybody else is part of this, I don't think they'll stand for that. But
I would be homeless without my income from the canon. So
I mean, yeah, considering you are the editor in chief in terms of the news, so why don't we just get into that right now?
Yeah. So first piece of news, we got some DC film, actually technically television news. The spinoff from Matt Reeves' Batman, The Penguin, which was initially rumored and then officially teased, and then finally we got the trailer this past week. Not only that, we also have a release for this fall. So this is coming 2024, and man, this show looks cool. It looks just like gritty Gotham underbelly. It definitely has some references to the events of the film, the Matt Reeves film. And it's supposed to kind of be the segue between Batman 1 and Batman 2, which, as we found out recently, I believe last week or the week before, we talked about on the news, Batman 2 has been pushed back an entire year from October of 2025 to October of 2026. So this has to hold us off for 2 full years until we get that second film. I have high hopes for this, Jeff.
Yo, that trailer, what did I text you? It was 2 letters, 1 word.
2 letters, 1 word. Yo.
It was all caps too, because that was like, when I watched it, I went, yo, because that thing was, oh my God, I loved it. I loved it. It was a teaser. It was about a minute long, but it set the tone for what this will be. And it's not like we expected anything different, but just the things that they harken back to in the Batman with the Penguin's kind of lair. People have noticed this. I just noticed it on the social medias as well, where the Penguin has this circle in his kind of, I guess, his office. And there's a great shot of Batman walking through. There's a great shot of Selena Kyle walking through. And then you see a shot of him walking through that in the trailer. And it kind of ties everything in. And I'm excited about this. We want to know what you guys think in the comments as well, because this is very exciting. It comes out fall. So I guess that'll take us to a year and a half, Joe. And then probably 6 to 8 episodes. That's 2 months worth of content. It's not enough, Joe. I hear what you're saying. Your favorite Batman film of all time. I can't say that for me, but I did quite enjoy it. I started watching it again. We shall see. What did you all think of that trailer? When you saw it, let us know. We are going to move to the next news piece. Joseph, what do we got?
Yeah, the next news piece is another trailer, this time for Star Wars The Acolyte. And there seems to be mixed reviews on this one. We've got some Star Wars purists unhappy with it. We've got other people that say, yo, this looks awesome. Especially look at this poster. This poster really had me. This is the first live action delve into the High Republic era of Star Wars, which is currently a very popular comic book run from Marvel, and High Republic Adventures from IDW as well, which I think ended, if I remember.
It's in Dark Horse took over.
Dark Horse took it over. There we go. Yeah. This trailer, honestly, I'm excited about it. I'm not like over the top stoked. Like, it definitely wasn't as as you would say, as the Penguin trailer.
Right.
But it was like, okay, I can get into this. This looks cool. I got questions and I want some answers.
And the thing I like about it is, again, it's not really connected to the Skywalker saga, right? I mean, Yoda is part of the High Republic in the books, but it seemed fresh. You know what I mean? A lot of people are saying it looked like crappy, like a kind of B-list show that didn't have much of a budget. I didn't see that. I thought it looked really fresh. I'm very intrigued by it, and I always have been. And I do like the fact that they do have a tie-in to the series, which is Vanessa Rowe from Star Wars Republic 2. Some people are saying 5 is her first appearance, and this is a cameo, but you guys all make the choice. But so that's cool. We're seeing an actual character from the books. So very excited about that. I am also intrigued by this one comment here, because once I put this up, can't take it out of your brains. Someone told me the poster looks like a used tampon, and now I can't unsee it. So I'm sorry, I had to. I don't know. I'm yes, okay, I did that, Joe, and that was really. I know you are the editor-in-chief of the Comic Book Canon News, and that was inappropriate, and I apologize. So
please report to Comic Book Canon HR at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. Thank you.
Yes, for sure. Who is? I guess I'm in charge of HR. So
report to yourself then, please.
We'll figure that out. Next up, you're very excited about this.
No, I'm really not. You are. Maybe you think. I'm not sure if you think that I'm actually really into this.
You texted me about it, so therefore I thought you were excited, because I wouldn't have made mention of this at all.
Yeah, I am. As much as I love like a lot of things similar to, I am not into Aliens or Predator whatsoever. I still have not seen Prey.
That was excellent, man. Excellent.
I know. I heard it was good, but I just don't know. It's not something that really like gets me. So, but a lot of people that are into this type of stuff are really into this trailer for Alien Romulus. That trailer drop. I feel like this is like the week of trailers. Is this
It was a big week for trailers, for
Yeah, I
sure.
feel like it must be because the writer's strike like kind of bunched stuff up, and they're
Good
finally
point.
popping out regularly
Good
now.
point. Yeah.
But yeah, listen, like I said, I'm not too into this, but man, that trailer, it's something. It gets your heart going.
It does, and it harkens back to the first Aliens. I do believe it's in between, sandwiched in between Alien and Aliens, which is the sequel to Alien. And it's a younger type of a crew having to go against these horrible, vicious, ugly aliens. So I don't know. I'm a little bit more than indifferent about it. Where I'm intrigued. I will see it, I'm sure, but I'm not like I gotta rush to the theater, or I'm freaking setting the date for something like this. You know what I mean? So, but it was good. It was good to see this trailer. I didn't even know we were this close to another Aliens film. So, yeah. Anyways, let's move on to the next story, shall we?
Yeah, this is a pretty cool one. For those of you who are or are not reading the current Ultimate Comics run, Ultimate Spider-Man, there is a character coming to the forefront in the next issue. Not really a spoiler. People kind of know about this. I won't go into any details about it. But Gwen Stacy will be showing up. And I find this really interesting because Gwen Stacy is generally shown, at least, over the majority of comics, as a love interest of Peter. But in this version of Spider-Man, Peter is already married to MJ with kids. So how are they going to work her in? What is her role going to be? You got to read it to find out. I'm not going to give anything up more than that. There is a little bit more information out there for those who want to snoop around, but I don't want to say too many more details than that for those of you who want to read this yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Again, we see many iterations of Gwen Stacy, but I'm super excited for this run here because it is a breath of fresh air, and it's interesting because Ultimate Spider-Man it brought back in the early 2000s. It wanted to bring in younger viewers, right, younger readers, and it kind of updated Peter Parker and Spider-Man's origin. Now we're 20 years later, and they're catering to those same people who are middle-aged adults with children of their own. And it's just really fascinating to see how they're doing this, especially that first, Ultimate Invasion, I think it was, that kicked it all with Jonathan Hickman. The Ultimate Universe, I'm very excited for. I'm enjoying it thoroughly, and I'm going to be excited for Gwen's appearance. Moving on to some more Marvel news, because, Joe, I hit you up and I said, hey, editor-in-chief, what do you think of this story, guy? And you took your cigar out of your mouth and you're like, you got a good eye, kid. You got a good eye. And you popped that thing back in and started chewing on it. But I do think this is falling under the radar. That's you, right?
I've never smoked a cigar in my life.
No. But it'd be cool if you, anyways, you all can imagine.
Are you saying smoking is cool? Are you telling all the
No. Let's not get into that. Don't put words in my mouth. Here we go. Let's just do it.
All right. Eyes of Wakanda, this is the first time that I'm hearing that is the name. I remember
me as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember it being called just Wakanda, or Wakanda Forever, maybe was the title.
Or that's actually the second movie, Joe. Come on.
Oh yeah. You're right. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Is that the name of the second movie? Man, yes. I'm all mixed up. Anyway, I think the show was originally called Wakanda. Now it's called Eyes of Wakanda. It is going to be animated. I didn't realize that.
I didn't know that either.
And it is, interestingly enough, going to be in the main MCU timeline. It is going to be, part of all that. It's not like a what if or anything, but it is going to be in the past. So it's going to deal with previous Black Panthers, not T'Challa or T'Chaka. We probably won't see many of the characters that we know from the MCU, if any at all. But we will get an expansion of Wakanda and also ties to the greater MCU.
Yeah, again, another entry into the Marvel universe, cinematic universe. I'm very excited for getting to see the lineage of the Black Panther, I do believe. Apparently, I think there are bits and pieces. They're going to be hunting relics of vibranium, things like that around the globe, but set in the past. So, again, very exciting to see kind of the MCU grow even further. we all know that they're going to be picking their projects very carefully going forward because they did take risks, and I applaud them for that. Some hit, some didn't. But this right here, they're going to be more deliberate. And I think this Brad Winterbaum said that they're going to be developing more than they're going to be producing. So that means they're going to have all of these ideas, and they're going to come to some kind of concentrated effort where they decide which are the strongest ideas that they think moving forward. So this is one of those ideas, and very excited about it because you do have the Black Panther team behind it as well. So not sure when they are planned, but it sounds like they're full on in production the way that they're speaking of it. So we should be seeing that at some point.
Yeah.
So some point soon. But what we have saw this past week,
yes,
very nostalgic, but also
bam, 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 bam.
No, you were supposed to keep Joe. We're both
sorry.
musicians and we fucked this up. I can't.
I know. I'm sorry.
Language too. All right. But what do we got, Jill? What do we got?
What dropped this week? X-Men 97. I've done my initial watch, and I also rewatched the first episode. I'm going to definitely rewatch the second episode when I get a moment of free time. I love it. It from the theme song to the actual visuals during the opening credits to the characters and how they interact, the animation style, the voice cast. It is all so nostalgic. I felt like I was back in my parents' living room when I was, 5-6 years old, watching this on the old crappy TV. And I wasn't. I was in my own home, in my own living room, watching it on a nice big old flat screen.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm an adult at this point. So yeah, I mean, this was. I think it's super cool that they decided to go back and continue this fan favorite. I really liked it. I can't wait to see what's to come. I hate that they only dropped 2 episodes because I'm just gonna rewatch them for a while. But yeah,
I mean, there's new episodes coming every Wednesday.
There is new episodes coming every Wednesday, but I have to wait till Wednesday to see the next one. I'll probably watch that one 2 or 3 times before the 4th one comes out.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Before I comment on this, Comic Toby, I thought Swaggle House was going to be here tonight.
He is.
Was he supposed to be here?
Oh, tonight on the show?
Tonight? I don't know. Stay tuned. You will find out. But here's the deal. I loved X. Okay, the first episode was kind of like, okay, it's cool. It's back. It's a new episode, whatever.
Yeah. Second
episode really kicked it up a notch for me in terms of hitting on a lot of things that we see today in the real world. And I am so happy about those things that they hit upon. Again, don't want to get political or anything, but I'm glad that we're talking about things like that in a format like a comic book a cartoon based off of comic books that were created out of the civil rights movement. It's really, I'm so happy that they're back. I'm so happy this series is back, and I'm so excited to see where it's going to go. So that again is pure joy for a lot of people for that nostalgic factor right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, you hit the nail on the head. That really, I like that they dropped the first 2 episodes because the first one was kind of like almost like a recap. It
really was, yeah.
Things that happened, and it called people up to speed, so you didn't need to go watch the first, what was it, 6 seasons, 5 seasons, or whatever, 100 episodes, whatever it is. You could just kind of watch that episode and get into it. So yeah, definitely excited for more.
For sure. Let us know what you guys think about X-Men 97 in the comments section right there. We do have a wonderful guest coming, but Joe, I think, again, this is the first time we've done it in this format. Should we say hello to the fine people, or should we bring the guest in?
Well, let's say hello to the fine people, and then we'll bring our guest in.
Yeah, well, then we'll bring our guest in. So, all you fine people, such as Raw Dog Comics is in the house, Swaggle House, he definitely is in the house. We got Dan De La Torre confirming Swaggle House will be here. Comic Toby says, okay. Josh's comics are Adam Schefter of Comic Book Canon. Her Spider-Man Adventures might make a return. That is definitely from one of his sources. I am sure of it. Heroes Reborn, commenting on my F-bomb. I got to do this right here. Mark Leneker. Smoking is cool. Remember when bars allowed smoking? Those were the days. A drink in one hand, a cig in the other, a tale of woe on your mouth. I mean, you are a poet. By the way, I remember coming home from the bars, taking a shower, and the next day and just smelling the smoke. Yes, I went to bars when you were allowed to smoke, Joe. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
I'm just here.
T-Shoe. I figured it out after going on a binge last night. Don't know what that's about, but I'm excited to hear. We have Comic Ozzy in the house saying hello to DJ Lynx, who had that wonderful tampon analogy, or not analogy, comparison, I would say. Nukes Comics, more oi than yo. I think he is discussing...
That was referring to the alkaloid.
No. I think that was actually alien.
Trust me, it was referring to the alkaloid.
You know what? I agree to disagree.
I'm having a hard time with that word.
Accolade. We got EGS, aka Tony, in the house. Thank you, EGS, for being a good partner. Dr. Plagueis, we're in trouble because we brought Michael Susi in as our lawyer, and he does not know what the hell he's talking about. D&T Comics and Collectibles, just getting out of work. Hope you are enjoying your downtime, actually, I'd say. Comic Ozzy, we said hello. Nikita Kari, hey, people. We got Immortal Scruffy. What's up, Cannon Crew? That's right. Who else? Needs more. This deserves a plug right there. Needs more cowbell. Who else do we have? Who else? Heroes Reborn. We already said hello. We got a great crew tonight. Great crew. You need to have the suits like Adam Schefter, though, Josh. You need to have those suits. I mean, and you're a bit taller than Adam Schefter, I would have to say as well. So we got to figure out how to make you look at least a little bit like Adam Schefter. But Joe, why don't we just do this? We have a wonderful guest on tonight.
We do.
I'm very excited about this person. He's a wonderful human being, and I wrote this wonderful thing about him, and we're going to do it right now. There we go. Our next guest is a Canon guest alumnus. He is a writer, director, and a passionate comic collector, sharing some info about the hobby. I took that right from his YouTube, which you can follow down below, by the way. You've seen his work on the YouTubes, but he is also a passionate comic book creator. Sanity was launched last year and took the world by storm. Now Sanity is launching their Kickstarter for issue 2 and 3. You could find that link down below. And has recently been picked as a featured product on the platform. Kickstarter. Please welcome Swaggle House, aka Mickey. What's happening?
Hey, thanks so much again for having me on the show, guys. I mean,
no, thank you.
It's always an honor to be with you guys. I mean, are you guys okay though? Because I didn't realize that Chet had so much baby mama drama going on, and I'm
we just
worried.
found out last week.
I'm worried for the canon here. Are you guys?
I mean, there's
Moss okay?
I don't know what unlawful death lawsuits are like. We probably need to have deep pockets, and the canon does. 21 million people watching right now, but not as deep as Tiffany Amber Thiessen from Saved by the Bell. So we'll have to figure this whole thing out.
But if a couple people in the chat want to maybe buy a T-shirt and support, I think that might help.
That would that's a great strategy right there. Actually, I know a certain politician that's doing something like that right now, but I'm not going to get into that. But here's the deal. We are so glad to have you on. We had to jump through hoops through your publicist and all of that stuff to get you on. We know you're a busy man. You're going to be doing the talk show circuit for Sanity. And we're very excited for this book. I'm not into horror or kind of the genre of like horror. This wasn't too like horror or gore or anything like that, but the suspense. Outstanding the way you pace it. And if y'all haven't read Sanity issue number 1, please do. It's available on Mickey's website, Swagglehaus Comics. Is it SwagglehausComics.com?
Yes.
Okay. Link is down below for all of the information for Mickey. But Joe is definitely into horror.
Yes.
And this is right up his alley.
Yeah, and this is it's like a horror noir almost. Like it's got this like old detective-y feel, which is really cool. A little bit of like that Twilight Zone element, like a little bit of a classic feel to it. What are you looking at, Jeff?
I have issue 2 covers, but I need issue 3 covers. It didn't load up, so I'm doing that right now.
Yeah,
not to
Jeff. Please report to HR at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Yeah, he's gonna be there all day. Apparently,
yeah. I know. I got a lot of work to do on myself.
But yeah, I mean, listen, I'll say this, and if Sanity ever gets picked up an option for a movie, I'm very down to take a major role as
Well, timeout. I'm down to take a major role as well, but we need to talk a little bit more about Sanity issues 2 and 3 before we talk about anything further. Joe.
Yeah. I just wanted to throw that out there. Just want to mention.
We were going to throw that out there, but you threw it out a little too early because we have
sorry.
your Kickstarter again. Congratulations for Kickstarter recognizing you as a featured project. Words are hard sometimes. As a featured project. Again, issue 1, outstanding. The art absolutely matches, and I'm sure you've heard this before. It matches the writing. You guys are a great team. But these two issue 2 covers right here. You got your A cover on the left. You got your B cover on the right. I'm loving it. Absolutely loving everything. All the nuance that's going on in cover A right there, especially with the glasses and all of that stuff. By the way, congratulations on meeting your goal within hours. Not many people can say they do that. So good call out there, Dr. Plagueis. And then we have cover 3, issue 3 covers right here. Again, just fantastic. Do you want to comment on what we can expect from issue 2 and 3?
Sure. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for setting me up here and saying all those nice things about the comic book. I mean, I'm super humbled and just thankful for all the people that are supporting it and backed it and put their trust in me. You know, it's you want to create a comic book and you hope people might support it that are not my mom, you know, and it's always kind of nice to get a few people to back it. But yeah, you know, the whole series for me was to kind of just take it back to sort of where comics began. You know, obviously I'm a vintage collector. You know, comics have its root in the detective noir style. Like, I mean, DC Comics, Detective Comics, you know, it's kind of where it started. And back in the day, they had all those pulp adventures of occulty, weird things going on. And so Lovecraft kind of felt perfect for that. So yeah, you know, in our first issue, we meet our private investigator who gets hired by kind of a Hollywood actress socialite who, you know, is from a famous family, and her brother goes mysteriously disappearing. So she kind of brings on this private investigator to kind of see if he can find out what happened to him. And, you know, things happen in issue 1, and, you know, issue 2, we kind of go on and we kind of learn a little more about the story. We learn a little bit more about Robert Grant, you know, the man behind the magnifying glass. We kind of pick up the pieces where we left off, the trail of crumbs and stuff. And, you know, we eventually come across a particular item that is important to Lovecraft lore, if you guys are really into this stuff. But that kind of, you know, dispels any notion that this is not a real thing for Robert. And so he kind of has to decide, he kind of has to embrace sort of a new truth, a new reality that he has sort of come across, which is this world of the occult. I guess that's kind of my way of pitching it. That's not so specific.
No, that's good. It may be hard for people to understand who haven't read issue 1, which is absolutely worth it. But again, kudos to you for, I know you write, I know you direct, I know you produce, I know you edit, I know you do all of that. But kudos to you for your first time out the gate with a comic book that was not only this successful, but actually good. Because sometimes you can win a popularity contest, right? And you get a whole bunch of your friends, and your mom gets a whole bunch of her friends and purchases this. But this has a lot of substance behind it, and you got to give you props because this is your love letter to that genre, right? To that harkens back on those earlier days of comic books, and I just got to give you props for that because, again, like if you guys, I'm a big believer, and I'm sure Mickey and Joe will tell you the same thing. If you have a dream, if you have something that you want to accomplish, just do it. Right? A lot of people hold themselves back. Oh, I don't have the technology to make a movie. You do because you have a phone, and you have plenty of resources to figure out how to do this. So again, kudos to you for just jumping in and doing it and being successful at it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You know, it's very nerve-wracking to do something and put yourself out there and do the whole thing. And I'm still nervous, you know, just thinking about everything. But yeah, like you said, you can do it. You know, if you have a dream, you'll never regret sort of, you know, pursuing the thing that you want to do. So it's been something that's been awesome so far. And hopefully people enjoy the next chapter.
Now we have one more question before, unless Joe has questions. I don't want to kind of derail this for you, Joe. But
no, I had no questions. I just did want to comment on something first. Like I think it's so cool. Everyone's here because they like comic books, whether they like collecting comic books, whether they're more of on the reading side, picking up trades or even individual issues and just kind of following the stories, not really as a collector. It's so cool to have had the opportunity to make your own. It's kind of like, Jeff and I both grew up as musicians. That first time that you went from, I listen to music to like, oh yeah, I'm learning how to play guitar to like, yo, I'm in a band and we wrote some songs. Like,
Yeah.
That's where you're at right now. You're doing your own thing. You're making your own music here in the comic book community. And that's so cool.
It's a great feeling. It is absolutely a great feeling. That's a great comment, Joe. And I'm glad we got that in there. Now, again, before we move on to the next segment of this kind of interview, which is actually more for Joe and I than it is for you, we'll get to that in a second here. Real quick, how big of a surprise was it to be featured as one of the featured projects on Kickstarter? That's amazing.
Yeah, that was honestly super cool. I mean, I asked a couple of my friends who I know who have done Kickstarters that I've seen some of their projects get it, and I kind of asked them, I was like, how do you get that? Like what is it? And they just sort of say it truly is just like I think the people that work at Kickstarter, they just pick it or whatever. And so
that's amazing.
I think for them, it's probably just them doing a little bit of vetting. I think they've seen that it's like, okay, here's this guy, he's doing it his second time around. So we know that we can put our stamp on it, that he'll fulfill it. And then the other part of it is just, I think, just, hey, there seems to be some excitement. We like what we see, and they just, the staff over there gives it a pick. So it's kind of a nice little honor, if to get whatever.
For sure. Because there's a lot of projects on there and the chance for that to happen is very minimal. You have to stick out, really stick out. So we do believe in this project. We are excited to see where it goes. And speaking of excitement, Joe, do you want to take the segue or I can take the segue?
Go ahead. I know you're excited.
So speaking of excitement, as you know, like comic book properties, like converting them to films or television show, that's a big deal in Hollywood. You work in the industry, you're out there in LA. And obviously if this gets picked up, you'll definitely be the executive producer, executive producer on it. You'll get to make decisions and things like that. Joe, I started the first half. Can you take the second half?
Yeah, I think that me and Jeff, we've supported along the way. Don't forget that. We've had you on the show.
True.
Many times, actually. You've been on the show many times. So
both of us are aspiring, actors.
Mm-hmm.
We want to make a name for ourselves, and we would love to try out for a role.
And Joe and I have not talked about the roles that we do want to try out for because there's a few characters in there. And
you want to be like one of the hot dog vendors in the background?
No, not at all. We want to be Grant. I want to be Grant. Joe,
wait, Jeff, you can't be Grant. Like, I'm perfect for Grant. I don't know.
No, whoa! I'm perfect for Grant. The main character of the book. I am perfect for Grant.
No. You don't even look like a Robert. You look like a Jeff.
Here's the deal. This is what's gonna happen, Mickey. We're gonna do an audition for your film, and you're gonna sit here and listen to it, and you're gonna hire one of us.
Oh,
as Grant.
Okay.
All right, Joe. I mean, do you want to go first?
No, ladies first here.
Oh, that's cute. You know what? Some people may be offended by that, but not me.
Age before beauty. How about that?
Okay, there you go. All right, so Mickey, what I'm going to need from you is to kind of, lead me into my lines here, please.
All right.
So we're going to be reading from this panel, which is actually from Sanity, issue number 1. All right, let's go for it.
All right, Mr. Grant, if I could just have a word.
Whoa, they're back in the 30s, so they kind of talk like this. You see? If you could do that a little bit.
Yeah. Mr. Grant, if I could just have a word.
If you could just like tone it down, that's a little bit too much, like 1930s.
Right. I should. You're right. You have the right vision for
yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Mr. Grant, if I could just have a word.
I would have returned your calls if I was willing to give you a word.
So you got my messages. Good. Then I'm writing a story about the Henry Sterling of Henry Sterling Advertising. His marketing firm is now under risk of losing their top clients thanks to the prostitution scandal you uncovered.
Wife thinks he's cheating. I find him cheating. He loses his accounts. What's there to comment on? Okay. So right there, that was obviously that's the winning one right there, but we'll give Joe a chance. So Joe, why don't you take that second panel right there and we'll see what everybody in the chat thinks. Who should be Grant?
That was definitely
Go, Joe.
something.
No, let's see what your vision is. Go.
It was intense. It was intense.
Well, lead me in here, Mickey, with the last line.
No, there's no leading in. Oh, actually, you should do the same panel. That's a good idea.
What? No, I was saying the last line of the panel that you just did.
Yeah, I can lead you in here.
Yeah. Okay.
He says he's suing you for racketeering, invasion of privacy, and trespassing.
Racketeering? That's rich coming from a guy who peddles cigarettes to kids.
Are you saying it's not a crime to spy on someone's private property?
What was your name again?
Sam Harrington.
Sam, the only crime being committed are the terrible ads Henry's company makes. I've tried Lucky cigarettes, and they're not as toasty as he claims.
Yo, good job. I mean, you probably would win an award at your community center play right there, but I'm talking Hollywood big time. You got a decision to make, Mickey, right now. Who are you casting as the role for Grant? I want to send out a press release by tomorrow.
You know, guys, both of you were really just mind-blowingly good. And it's really, really hard to make a decision. So maybe what I can do is, in the spirit of this being kind of a crowd-funded comic book thing that came together, what if we left it to the chat to decide?
I see what
Yeah.
you're doing.
Can I deflect to the chat here to decide?
That's fine. Listen, subscribe if you like how talented Joe and I are, because Joe, you are talented for like a community center play for sure. But like, obviously, I'm the superstar in this duo. So, anyways, subscribe. Mickey, thank you for allowing us to try out for your film. I know what's going to happen here. You're going to give me the lead role. Joe is going to get like a bit part as the hot dog vendor or what have you, or a background, one of the background kind of evil characters. But I'm very excited because we are going to be in this movie.
Yeah, sorry. Keanu Reeves has already signed on, guys. I probably should. Keanu Reeves has already signed on. I probably should have told you. So.
Oh, right. I can do Kung Fu. Okay, moving on. You know what? I think the show's over. No, we can't do that. We can't do that because we have Fresh from the Comic Shop, and we have a lot of announcements for Fresh from the Comic Shop. So everybody hang out for that. But before we get into that, we do a segment, Mickey, and you're the first guest that with this revamped jingle that, you're going to enjoy this because it's going to be Ask Joe and Mickey and Jeff. So here's the jingle.
Ask Joe and Jeff.
And
Okay,
Mickey.
so we ran the jingle right there. We forgot to ask people to put their questions in the chat. So please put your questions in the chat. Ideally, we're going to see a lot of questions about sanity. That'd be fantastic. But while you're doing that, we're going to get a live question going from the judge himself, Dan De La Torre.
Mr. Swagglehaus, what an honor. First of all, let me try. You always want to try and butter up the guest here. I want to show you guys my fresh guest right away. I've got Sanity covers A and B. I absolutely love the story. And the thing that really struck me first, Mickey, was how you made the Detective Grant a very complex character. He's not straightforward on any level. He's got his own little demons even before the show starts. And now you kind of set up a nice little segment to how those demons are enhanced or how these demons fight with other demons or whatever. It can go in a lot of different directions. So well done. And
it's also done subtly too. It's not like in your face thrown at us, which is
absolutely,
a big deal.
Absolutely. But this one question I have for you directly, Mr. Swagglehaus. You have as deep a love as I have for my Defenders, and I still don't know why, for this character right here, Darkhawk. Why? What grabbed you with this guy?
Sometimes you're just the product of your environment. When I was a young kid going into comic book stores for the first time in that late 80s, early 90s time frame, that was the perfect time when they were rolling out all those characters like Sleepwalker and Darkhawk. And I think I just saw this character on the shelf, this new #1 issue who looks like, some emo edgelord, badass suit of armor character. And I was like, that guy looks cool.
Emote
Therefore,
Mentor.
I like him. And that was kind of it. That was my initial
Okay.
thing. But I picked him up, and then I started reading it, and I actually really did like the story, from what I read. And then now, all these years later, growing up, I never realized that Darkhawk became a meme, like within the hobby. Like it was only until I got back into collecting, which was like 2017, where I was like, oh yeah, Darkhawk's cool. And then everyone's like making all these jokes about Darkhawk. I was like, wait, he's lame? And so now I feel like I have to rep it. I have to turn the community's, opinion on this character. So that's kind of where, my love comes from.
And I have no criticism whatsoever. I get a very similar and have gotten similar criticism for my love for the Defenders. People can't figure out why. So I get it. All right, to our question. It's to all three of you. Mickey, you did a piece on your show maybe a year or so ago. And it was someone had sent in a little icon of a 10-cent icon to CGC claiming it might be from Action Comics #1. They did say that it was certified. They slabbed it and they put on the label first appearance and origin of Superman. And you threw this out to your audience. Basically what happened was CGC broke new ground by doing so. And you questioned, how is this really the first appearance? And I bring this up for this reason. I got this thanks to my lovely wife here. This is this book here. This is, of course, the facsimile. But I got this page right here from the same book, 1940, Whiz Comics #2, first appearance of Captain Marvel. Now, on this particular page, there's no Captain Marvel on here. It's just a page from one of the back stories here. But same thing here. It does say first appearance and origin of Captain Marvel. If you ask me, and I've been collecting for nearly 50 years, do I genuinely have the first appearance of Captain Marvel? I'd have to be honest and say no. I do not. There's no image on any level, even a tiny little advertisement. I might have said sure, but no, there's no image here. So by CGC breaking ground with this, have you, added more thought to this here? And to you, Joe, because you're in the industry, I'm just a collector. You're the guy buying and selling, and so you have to see and deal with a whole different element of varieties with this. What's your opinion on CGC's groundbreaking decision, if you will? Do you agree with it? Same question to you, Jeff.
Thank you for including
What do you think, Joe? You want to start?
Sorry, who wants to go first here?
Yes, let's go first, Joe.
Yeah, let's go Swagglehaus. Yeah, please.
Okay.
Let's go first.
I guess I'm of two minds. I think the page, and again, I haven't fully thought this through, so I could be inconsistent, intellectually with this. But I think the page makes a little more sense in terms of it being like, this is a piece of history, this page. And so even if it doesn't have the first appearance, it's acknowledging that this page is from that comic that has that. So there's something there. I think the Action one was just like another level, because it literally was like, I mean, you can't even, I've seen, hanging chads on covers that are bigger than that, that one was just so funny. And to see it floating in the middle of this, whatever CGC cases are, 12 by 8, it just seemed odd to me. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
Let me interject, if I may. Basically, what they've done by saying this, let's say you get a couple molecules together that were from Action Comics #1.
Right.
They would say the same thing. It's the first appearance of Superman. I don't care where in the book it is. So, again, I'm very troubled by... See, there's no arbiter. There's no arbiter in comics to say what is what. CGC has become the arbiter. I disagree with them being the arbiter for a whole variety of reasons. That's probably another question for another show. So again, I thank you for that answer, Mickey. Mr. Joseph, I asked you the same question.
I'm going to interject here because mine's going to be easy and maybe ignorant. But for me, I would have the market. It's fine that CGC can do this, right? They can do, but I would have the market decide on what this is, right? Because it's a whole new subsection of collecting.
Yes.
And I think it's fine that they do this. I have no problem with it because it's preserving history, in my opinion. But at the same time, I think it. I would rather see what everybody. I'm not going to buy a page like that, right? I'm not going to send a page in like that. But other people may be really into it. Who would have ever thought 25 years ago somebody would send a comic book in to have somebody look at it, give it a number grade, and put it in a nice case to never take it out again? That's what I have to say. Joseph, please.
Yeah. So we've spoken about graded pages before here, and I've said that they unfortunately have gone a little bit overboard price wise, and it's basically making it so that if you have an incomplete copy of a lot of books, you profit from destroying that book and turning it into a bunch of pages, which is bad. If you can sell the individual pages of an incomplete book for more than the incomplete book, that's bad, because that is going to lead people to destroy comics and destroy
Good
complete
point.
comics. It's still destroying comics, and I'm not into this. If you have a book that gets a page ripped out and you want to get that page graded, or if you just find, because a lot of times, especially buying Golden Age collections, there's random pages, random covers, random ads strewn throughout. Sure, that's fine, but yeah, just destroying comics for the sake of profiting is a no-no in my book. As far as the label, which was really the core of the question here, I think because it denotes that it's a single page, I think it's fine to put that up there. It's noting that it is not a complete copy of the book, but it's noting the significance, basically what everyone else said. It's history. It's the historical significance of that book. And therefore, I have no issue with them putting that on the label. And I totally agree with what Mickey said about that 10-cent piece that got cut out. I think, if I remember correctly, the story behind that was the book was getting restored or something, and they cut that piece out, or maybe they were removing restoration, and they decided to do that. But that was a little silly. Like, if it's a full page, it's a full page. If it's a little fragment of something, it's a little silly to grade that. That being said, right across the room here, I do have a Ziploc baggie with some chips of ASM #1 that a friend from Staples out of an ASM 1, and some chips fell off, and he put them in a plastic baggie for me. So, anything is collectible, right?
Yeah, maybe you can grade those.
I don't
All right.
think so.
Here's the deal. We're gonna wrap. That's a great question, Dan. We're gonna bring you back in, or Judge. I'm sorry. I apologize, Judge. Your Honor. But we're gonna bring you back in for Fresh from the Comic Shop to make sure everything is done fairly. So we'll see you in a bit. We have a lot to get through for Ask Joe and Mickey.
Jeff.
So let's get back into it. Joseph, here we go. I'm just gonna do this. By the way, like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We greatly appreciate that. Here we go. This is gonna set you up for Fresh from the Comic Shop, Joe. Did you think you would obtain a major grail today when you woke up?
If you know what I got already today, please do not spoil it for everyone else. It will be my last book of Fresh from the Comic Shop. No, absolutely not. I set up at a show today, and just a quick little preview. I traded for a huge book that I've never owned before, and will definitely be keeping in my PC. Stay tuned for more on that later.
Fresh from the Comic Shop and Como Comic Books in the house. We love you. I haven't seen you for a while. We got to bring you back on the show. All right, next up. Here we go from Adam Schefter, aka Josh's Comics. Ask Joe, CBC, and Jeff as well. Also, Mickey. It seems like there are so many cons every weekend now. Would you set a budget and try to attend every single con, or choose single one or certain ones? Let's go with Joe first.
Yeah. So this is a kind of tough one. It really depends what your goals are. If your goals are, I'm filling in the couple issues I need of my ASM run, or, I'm looking for these specific books, it's probably better for you to focus on big cons where there's going to be a lot of inventory, and you'll probably find those books. If you're someone who is buying to resell, which is totally something that people do, I hunt at cons all the time for good deals on things. In that case, it's probably better to go to more cons, whether they're small or big or whatever, just to cover more ground and be able to hunt out those deals. So I really think it depends on your goals. It also, one thing that I think a lot of people overlook is the other things in your life. They are going to be a huge factor. If you have kids, if you have, a demanding, job, if you, aren't someone who likes to wake up early on the weekends, maybe skip some cons. If you have all the free time in the world, you're a 22-year-old fresh out of college with adult money for the first time, go have some fun. Like it's that time for you. So I think everyone's situation is going to be different here, and no one can really tell you other than yourself what is best for you. But I always say, no matter how you're shopping, how you're collecting, do it strategically. Think about what you want. Think about what you are really striving for. Have some goals with collecting, whether they're generic and vague or very, very specific. Just kind of plan things out.
Mr. Swags.
Yeah, I kind of feel like, with the cons around me, I kind of now have gone to enough of them to kind of know what to expect, like what style of show it is. So I kind of like there's two different buckets. There's like the one bucket that is your San Diego Comic-Con, your New York Comic-Con, your C2E2, some of these bigger shows that for me, it's more about the experience. Like I'm kind of just going to sort of talk to people and meet people. And maybe you can get some autographs, meet your favorite artists, and just kind of soak it in and enjoy it. And not necessarily go into some of those shows, the bigger ones, with like an expectation of like, this is where I'm going to get my comic shopping done. Like, because usually the prices are a little more expensive. You could probably find stuff just as cheap online, on eBay. But then there's like the one-day shows that are, more mom and pop style of stuff that I enjoy going to those, especially if they're not that far from me. And those are the ones that I find are like kind of the good ones to bring some money to, in terms of like, okay, I'm going to be spending, I'm going to do some shopping here. This is where I'm going to find some good deals. And that's usually where my budget goes for, my comic book buying, even though ironically, San Diego also takes a big budget, but it's just a budget that is more of a trip budget as opposed to comic buying budget.
Yeah.
So
and I'll say this, for myself, I did go to New York last year. Last year was the first year that I've gone to New York in many years. And honestly, I only went because I had a free pass, and I would not have gone if I had to pay. I go to a couple big shows. The two like big East Coast shows that I go to are Terrificon and Baltimore Comic Con, because they are very comic book focused, so much more than New York itself. I usually choose those to be my two bigger cons, and then kind of like you said, go to a lot of the mom and pop ones. Go to the smaller shows where you may be able to negotiate more deals. You might be able to, have some more time to kind of like spend talking with the dealers and networking and getting to know people in the community. I just did one today and it was phenomenal. Bunch of out-of-state dealers as well as, local Jersey, Pennsylvania people, a lot of faces I knew. And I also met some new people, and that's always cool.
For me, it's all about the community. If I'm going to a con, I'm not going to thinking I'm gonna, set a set amount of money to go get it. Because like if I run into, I just love digging through long boxes, right? That's what I love doing, and I'll go to any con that has friends there, and that's what I enjoy doing most. I've been to San Diego Comic-Con many times for work, and it just feels like it sucks the life out of you. You know what I mean? It is a shit show. And I don't need to go again. It's the same thing with New York Comic Con as well. But like a place like King Con, that's so much fun. Much fun.
Speaking of, King Con is 13 days away, just less than 2 weeks. I hope to see you there, Jeff.
Yeah.
Is it the 6th?
It is the 6th, Saturday the 6th.
We'll talk later. All right, we're gonna move on to the next question here. This is specifically to Mickey. Swags, if Sanity were to get picked up, not if, when, for a movie or show, who would be your first choice to direct if money was no object and they could direct Jeff as private investigator Robert Grant? I think it's kind of
wow. Who would be my first choice?
I'm thinking about working with me too, my temperament and how to get the best out of me.
Yeah. Aside from Jeff, that's the obvious answer. We should go a little deeper. Aside from Jeff.
Well, no. As me is Robert Grant and the direct. So,
right. Well, yeah, I would think, I would put it all in your hands with talent, on camera, directing, producing, cinematography, just one man band. But aside from that, well, one, I would say, Denis Villeneuve is like the best director, I think, working. I think Denis Villeneuve is like,
wow,
is like Patrick Mahomes to quarterbacks as directors to other directors directing right now. That's what I would say. I think he is on another level. Not to say that I think
too, by the way, but okay.
No, don't disagree.
No, I don't disagree. I haven't seen Dune 2 yet, though.
Okay.
Before I
but
sign
I'm trying to think if there's someone. I just think his work's phenomenal. I'm just trying to think if there's someone who's actually like, oh, this is the tone that the movie would sort of be in.
Sure.
And I don't know.
You know, I could see doing this. Mike Flanagan, guy that he did a lot of the Netflix like horror stuff. Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor, Midnight Mass, Fall of the House of Usher. He's got that like dark grittiness that I think would go well here.
I have an interesting selection, actually, and I'm being serious. Just think about it.
Okay.
Jordan Peele.
Ooh.
That could be kind of cool.
I don't know about that gritty tone.
Yeah.
He probably is capable of it, but he can freak you the F out. You know what I mean? Like, for sure.
I like that.
Something to think about. I bring stuff to the table more than my acting skills. We're going to move on to the next one, which is specifically for Mr. Swaggle House. Do you really have a second-degree black belt?
No. Oh. Wait, why do we think that I have a second degree?
Rumor has it, apparently.
Isn't that Dan?
To Comic Toby.
Oh,
I have I actually am a second degree black belt.
Oh,
like for real, I am. But
this
I
happens a lot. People get
in
Swaggle House in 360.
I feel like Joe is, and I think Dan is as well.
Dan is, yeah.
I'm not, but I could be if I really applied myself. Immortal Scruffy ask Joe, Jeff, Mickey, who is your favorite comic book villain character? This is a very. I think I know what Joe's going to say. I don't know what Mickey's going to say.
Dan said in the private chat that he's a 4th degree in Taekwondo.
Well, that's some serious shit.
Yeah. Favorite villain character for me. If I really had to pick one, which is very, very difficult because I think that I could name 10. If I really had to pick one, I think it would be. I got one Marvel, one DC, and they're similar in a lot of ways. I'm gonna go with Scarecrow from Batman.
Interesting. Okay,
that's a good one. I think for me, it's Thanos, and not just because of like the movies and stuff. I mean, we're of the age where Infinity Gauntlet, when that came out, Jim Starlin, like to me, Thanos was the coolest. So he's kind of always been my favorite supervillain.
Guys, God. I mean, I'm a diehard Spider-Man fan. I'm going to go Green Goblin, just the psychology of Harry Osborn or Norman Osborn, and I just find it fascinating where this character has gone. I know all of these characters have a legacy with them, whether it be Thanos or Scarecrow or Green Goblin, but I just find it fascinating. And very close second is Mysterio.
Really, I thought you were going to say Doc Ock. By the way, Mysterio is my second choice. Paul did say the Joker, which I think the Joker is like, he's not my favorite, but I think he is the greatest villain of all time.
Agreed.
Yeah, because this is also obviously subjective, but I mean, the Joker is, yes, but it's also how the psychology of these characters for me matters. The backstories and things like that. Joker's backstory is very ambiguous, as we all know. So yeah,
that's what makes him cool though. Like that's really one of the things that like brings him allure.
That's true. Again, all subjective. There's no wrong answer except for Joker. No, I'm just kidding. Moving on. Who do we have? Josh's Comics. Ask Mickey CBC, can you somehow add a dedication for Chet in future books? His last words as Joe and Jeff held him were, tell Mickey to swing away.
Oh my God.
It's true. He did whisper that in my ear before he passed.
I had too many tears. My nose was all I was just sobbing uncontrollably. So Mickey, just think about it.
Listen, there is a tier that's, on the Kickstarter, that's a shout out tier. You can say anything you want. Maybe we should have something on this for Chet on the page. Maybe we can
actually. We could, let's do
right,
it. Let's get that tier.
We're going to start a GoFundMe to fund your Kickstarter to get RIP Chet in the book. There we go.
That's freaking brilliant, actually.
Yeah.
All right, we got our final question here from Tony. and this is a big one right here, everybody.
Yeah.
Lots of opinions. I'm sure everybody's going to have lots of opinions on this. What are your thoughts on CGC now going to be able to verify signatures?
Jeff, we forgot to put this in the news. This should have been in the news.
Oh my God. Yeah, we forgot.
Yeah, and we actually talked about it on the phone earlier this week, and I guess it never made it to paper, but that's fine. I don't blame you. I do. As far as what I think about it, companies are always going to try to expand. They're acquiring. It's not them doing it themselves. Let's be clear here. It's them acquiring a reputable company. Now, if that acquisition leads to the degradation of quality, of reputation for that company, that's not good. There are plenty of times where companies acquire companies and the things go downhill, and there are other times that it's the opposite. They improve upon each other and so on and so forth. I think that they should have done it a long time ago, or something similar to it a long time ago, just because they were probably have lost a ridiculous amount of money to CBCS. Just from the business standpoint, I think it was kind of crazy that it took them that long. But at the same time, I don't really plan on sending anything into them. I don't have anything that I really want to. I'm already sending Tony at EGS my Stan Lee sign ASM 50. I'd rather get that in a really cool label because I'm keeping that in my personal collection. So yeah, I don't think I have no personal opinion on it. I just think that it's a good business move, and I'm surprised that it hasn't happened sooner.
Mickey.
I think, I'm kind of with Joe on this one, where when I first heard it, I was like, of course they're doing it. It just sort of is like the next frontier for them to kind of gain market share, even though it always seemed like they kind of had a philosophy that was like, we don't do it because we want to know what we verify. But, as is the, an expanding business goes. The one thing I would say too is, it's CCG getting them. So even beyond comics, this feels like this is a move for them. I don't know if signed VHS tapes is a big thing, but I would imagine that they're thinking about that aspect too. They're thinking about what other, grading memorabilia. They have their card side of their hobby. So, I think that for them, they just see it as too big of an opportunity. And also just, get your popcorn ready, because I'm sure there's going to be lots of, interesting, drama, mishaps and stories that come out of this at some point.
Yeah. And one thing to think about is that we don't know the whole story here. At least I haven't seen any reports on this, any announcements or anything. Is it going to be a yellow label, indistinguishable from a witness signature? Or is it going to be like when CBCS first started doing it? They used to have a red label for verified signatures rather than witness signatures. I don't know. And I don't know how that would even affect the price. If there would be a difference, I would think that there would probably be a difference just because it's something different. So why wouldn't there be a different price? I think this is something I'm going to stay away from for now, as far as for myself and for stuff I'm selling, and see how the market takes to it.
Very interesting takes. I see it as the rich getting richer. I see them also needing good press. I see that, somehow just kind of distraction as well. But I do think this. I'm not a futurist by any means. I am into technology and things like that, and I'm a big fan of EGS. And I wouldn't be surprised in the near future if there was technology available to us through an app on your phone or what have you to verify signatures. I would not be surprised if they make this technology open to other people, and EGS would be able to verify signatures. So
EGS does verify signatures. Tony does.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, that's why I'm sending him my
your comic book canon partner. My bad, Tony. But what I'm saying also is, I do think it's going to be available to a lot of people. Being able to do this. And my bad, I thought this was the last question. We have a few more, so we got to knock these out because it is getting late on the West Coast.
On the East Coast.
Jeff, I'm tired. You know,
I know.
for you,
Again,
it's easy, but for me on the West Coast here,
you guys you're doing this media circus. You know what I mean? It's hard to be you, but we appreciate you being here. By the way, like and subscribe if you haven't already. Tell your friends about Comic Book Canon. We are the most popular live YouTube show in the world. 29 million people watching right now. You're not wrong. T-Shoe flashback question. Best Marvel decade. The 60s, the OG creative, or the 2000s, the MCU. Also, this is hard. DC's greatest decade, the 40s. Part deuce is that DC's problem with being relative to youth today. Jeez, T-Shoe. That's a jam-packed question here, guys. Mickey, you're our guest. You get to go first.
can I give 2 for Marvel? That's kind of a caveat. So I think
Absolutely.
the Bronze Age 70s is the best art story combo decade for Marvel. I think that's when they really elevated. And then I would say like the Bendis era, like the 2000, or like when Mark Miller took over Civil War through say Secret Invasion, Bendis stuff. Like that's when they really started to tell these are elevated stories.
Yeah.
And so I think that those are my 2 picks for their best decade. And then DC, I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think? I'd pass that to you.
Ooh, all right. So, Jeff, if you don't mind,
I do want to point out, I love what he says here, that is DC's problem relating to the youth because they're so old. That's
I don't think that's an issue.
But it's an interesting point because they have been around much longer than Marvel.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, my era had Batman the animated series. When my dad was a kid, he watched Batman the Adam West show. When my friends that are younger than me, my cousins that are younger than me, they watch Teen Titans. Kids over the last, kids that are in their early teens now are watching Teen Titans Go. There's always something for kids to get into DC. But back to the question, best Marvel decade, 1975 to 1985. I know that's not like a singular decade like the 1980s, but it's a 10-year span. So that is basically Claremont run of X-Men, Miller run of Daredevil, Black Suit Spider-Man, and Secret Wars is all encompassed in there. It's pretty hard to beat that. DC, the 80s, they got gritty and dark in the 80s. They killed off Jason Todd via vote. They expanded on Frank Miller's The Dark Knight, Alan Moore's Killing Joke. They went dark, and V for Vendetta was a DC book from the I know it was reprinted from magazine in Europe, but it still was put out here by DC, so I'm going to include that. More adult content, more in-depth, more violent, more gritty, and as adults, we're all still interested in comics because there is adult content, adult level reading in comics, and I think that's really important, and it pushed the industry in that direction.
Yeah, I'm basically going to say what Joe said. I think the Copper Age is it's me personally. It's what when I started collecting, especially what drew me in was Tom McFarlane's Spider-Man. Joe, actually, that kind of drew you in as well. That was your first book, if I recall correctly. Right?
It was, yeah. I got in through the TV shows.
So I got to say Copper Age or the Copper Age on both, because what drew me into DC was John Byrne doing Superman. So I'm enamored with the Copper Age. So that's my opinion. Obviously, it's personal to me. If we're looking by facts, in terms of sales and things like that, I don't know, but that's what I have to say about that.
Do you think that's because when Copper Age, late 80s, you turned 37 in the late 80s, and you finally learned how to read? Do you think that's why you? What's going on?
He's not that old. Stop it.
I was talking to you.
Oh no, that's not true at all. But Dan, this could have been Dan. This question mostly depends on when you were born and started collecting. So I agree with that 100%. Okay, moving on. Here we go. We gotta get through these here. So we're gonna do one here. Nuke has a great question. Ask Joe, Jeff, and Swags top 3 MCU character depictions thus far. We each get one. Swags, you're our guest. Go.
Iron Man. Come on.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's the low hanging fruit right there.
It is, but
Yeah.
it's also it's like
fact.
the right answer.
Jeff, you go next because
Captain America.
Captain America, huh?
Depictions, I'm not saying the.
I'm gonna
Captain
go.
America.
I'm gonna go Wanda. I'm gonna go Wanda here.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
It's not exactly like the comic, but the fact that she is so powerful and also so pulled to react emotionally and to just she has the power to use all this dark magic, and she attempts to stay away from it as much as possible, but is so pulled towards it. I think they did that really, really perfectly over the evolution of the character.
Yeah, that's a good one. I never would have thought of, but just you saying it right now, completely agree, 100%. Great question, Nukes. And our final question, I think Mickey,
Also, Gore the God Butcher. Sorry, just throwing that.
Gore the God Butcher. You're avoiding those tomatoes. Right?
I just want to say that I had a first appearance of Gore the God Butcher on my wall at the comic show today for $80, 9.8 for $80, and no one even asked to look at it.
Yeah, it's that ship has sailed, I think. And final question of the night for Ask Joe, Mickey, and Jeff. What would you do if you had a fleshed out character concept but weren't a comic book writer? Mickey,
great question.
I mean, you could be a storyteller. Stan Lee didn't always write, every comic book that he created, so if you have a dream to make a comic, find some writers that you like, reach out to them, say you have an idea. And if you're willing to kind of put the team together to make it happen, maybe you can bring it to life.
Joseph.
Yeah, I was going to say team up. Just for your own protection, make sure you have documentation of that idea before you take it to other people, because last thing you want is your intellectual property being swiped before you're able to put it to copyright. I don't know if this actually works, but this is what I always did with my music that I wrote. I would record music and I would what I'm going to say?
Mail it to yourself.
I would mail it to myself so it had a date stamp on it. Yeah, that's what everyone did.
I'm not sure
I don't know if that would work in court, but that's what I always did.
Ben Bamboo, I'm going to go a different direction here because I believe in you. And if you've come up with a fully fleshed out character concept on your own, I think you're good enough to write a story for it. And you can start as simple as the beats of the story, right? And then start filling in all of those beats and how you want to see it progress. Give it a shot at the very least. Nobody's going to care about this character more than you. And I suggest you just get on it. Read some books on how to write stories. Go with a 3-act story. Get an arc going. Again, you don't have to start. And Mickey, you're going to agree with me. You're not going to sit in front of your computer and type out a comic book right then and there, right? It goes through many, many revisions on top of the fact that you have a process that you do before writing, how these books are going to play out. So I don't know you, but I believe in you. And the fact that you have a fleshed out character says something, right? Something that you're proud of, something that you want to do more with. So get to it. Start writing.
100%.
That's all I got right there. And that right there, everybody, ends this segment called Ask Joe, Ask Mickey, and Jeff. But we're going to get the jingle going, the proper jingle. Am I right, Joe?
Hit it.
Ask Joe and Jeff.
It brings tears to my eyes. We are finally here. The last segment of the show, everybody. The one that everybody is here for, because this is a big one. This is a big one. A big, big, big one, because we have the results of the 2023 Fresh from the Comic Shop tournament right in the midst of March Madness. Who could have planned this any better than Joe and I? Nobody. Right, Joe? Nobody. Thank you so much to our friends and sponsors, EGS Comics and Spider Dude Comics. And Tony, I am so sorry. I didn't say that. I said that you didn't do the signatures. I feel terrible about it. But we're going to move on from that because we're going to talk about what Fresh from the Comic Shop is. Joe, what's the segment that we do every week that I can't remember the name? Oh, it's what?
Well, you said it already. It's called the Gosh Darn Fresh from the Gosh Darn Comic Shop.
Live from the pressing salon. That's right. We ask you, the viewers, each and every week to submit your fresh gets, and you never disappoint. You send them on the Instagram. You tag us in the photo, not in the description, in the photo, and you put FFTCS in the description. Now, I got to tell you something. The hashtags are useless at this point. They are absolutely useless. It's hard to find any of these new submissions. So please tag us in the picture, not the description. In the picture. Can you guys distinguish? This is the picture and that's the description. Anyways, I'm trying my best here. So it's very, very important. And we're going to get into all of this in a hot second if you're new here and don't understand the concept. But again, you guys send in these fresh gets. You could win a monthly prize from EGS and Spider Dude Comics. And then you're already submitted into the yearly prize. And we have the winner for the yearly prize. Joe, I don't even know where to start. There's so much stuff to talk about right now, but I think what we're going to get into
run through
at this moment is just the results before we get into the criteria, before we get into all of that good stuff. So yes, as you know, the 2023 finals was Nukes Comics versus Super Crispy for this amazing EGS slab, by the way. Customizable slabs, everybody. Only people doing it right now is EGS, and they do it so well. This Hulk, number one, the first appearance of Red Hulk, but it's the 1 in 10. David Acuna, gorgeous book, great prize. You got the Captain America 4 movie, was a Brave New World coming out soon, so this book is going to be hot. And Joe and Mickey, I just want to let you know, we have the results here. We have the results. Are we ready?
I'm ready. Show it.
Nukes Comics versus Super Crispy. Nukes took it home, 69% to 31%.
Pew, pew, pew.
What's that?
Oh, I did the pew, pew, pew noise.
That was good, actually. That was very good.
I'm going to be quiet.
No, you don't need to be. This is your show as much as it is ours. That's the most important thing right here. But not only that, Joseph and Mickey, not only did Nukes win the gorgeous book right there. As you can tell, I'm stretching because this is embarrassing because we have a trophy now. We have it commemorates Chet. It commemorates Chet. And it's very important that his memory lives on. And the Vince Lombardi trophy. You guys have all heard it, right?
I've heard of it.
Please let us introduce to you the Chet G-Pot trophy that was inspired by grape soda and comic books. Look at that gorgeous piece of art. I think it's better looking than the Vince Lombardi trophy. What do you guys think?
I think it's way better.
Yeah,
I have tears running down my face. How beautiful it is.
I know. Wipe them off before we bring you back in.
Yeah, I will.
There we go. But that is a gorgeous. So congratulations to Nukes Comics. We need to do a proper video segment next year for our 2024 tournament. But again, that was a lot of fun. It was done March Madness style. And here we are landing in March Madness, announcing it. Next up, we have our semifinals. We had a semifinals this week for March. Let me show you the book of March, though. I mean, this, again, gorgeous, customizable labels for your slabs. This is the Scotty Young Spider-Man 25 variant, Amazing Spider-Man 25 variant. So that's what everybody's gunning for in March. And we had the semifinals, which was Raising Elm versus Nori Jordan. And Raising Elm takes it. That's not what I wanted. Takes it. Raising Elm takes it 67% to 33%. Now, with these monthly competitions, votes matter. That's how you get seated in the tournament brackets. So Raising Elm had 27 votes to Nori Jordan's 16. So everybody get your friends to vote, get your friends to follow, get your friends to like and subscribe. Again, props to EGS and Spider Dude Comics. They make this segment so fun. They donate this book each month, and they were totally on board for the tournament, which actually was Chris's idea. So again, it was fantastic. So before we get into it, we have 3 pieces of criteria that Mickey will be judging on. This is the first time this year you and I don't have to do it. And we do have a judge, by the way, to make sure that everything is done correctly. And if he doesn't agree, he's going to interject and go by the law and use the gavel. Thanks, Judge. Can't hear you, but that's cool.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
This
Judge.
is a conspiracy. We need an investigation immediately.
Hear ye, hear ye. All right, we're going to bring the judge back in a hot second. But we have 3 pieces of criteria that we look upon with these submissions. First is presentation. Give us a well-composed shot. Make it look wonderful. Have it somehow connect to the actual book. Again, think outside the box. Have fun with it. People like Raising Elm do a great job. Nukes, our 2023 winner, does a great job with that depth of field. Really well-composed image, well lit. We do not want any pictures in your grandmother's dirty bathtub, do we, Joe?
Absolutely not. That's the last place.
Or like some ugly ass wallpaper from the 70s, right? No, we do not want that as a background. No, well-composed shot. Joe, what's our second piece of criteria?
Second piece of criteria is we want to see something unique. And now unique, it doesn't mean that it has to be, I don't know, like $30,000.
Does not need to be $30,000. No,
it does not. It could be 30 cents for all we care about. We want to see something maybe we haven't seen before. This could be an older Golden Age book, forgotten by the ages. It could be an obscure indie book, a low print run. It could be something that has something different about it, such as an error, a misprinting, a Mark Jewelers insert, or some other type of variant, or it could even have a signature or original art on the comic book itself. Whatever it is, make sure it's something unique that catches our eye.
For sure. Good person who does a great job with that is Mark Leneker, who does not have a submission this week. I don't know why. And finally, everybody, give us a story. Pull at our heartstrings, right, Joe? Pull at our heartstrings. I don't know. Give me a book from the early 2000s real quick.
NYX3.
NYX3. Let's say you got your NYX3 in your hand. First appearance of X-23. Super excited, but you had that audition for Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Am I right?
Yeah.
And you went to your comic book shop, realizing you're late for your audition that your agent got you, and you got to go rushing over to the studio. You got to go rushing over where they're having the auditions, and you're late. You're already running late. Am I right, Joe? Am I right, Mickey? And those studio slots are big. You don't know where to go, so you ask somebody, "Hey, I'm late to my Buffy the Vampire Slayer audition. Where do I go?" Let me tell you, kid, go run through the props department. And you got your book in your hand right there, and you go through the props department of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And then what do you run into, Joe? You run into all that bloody, gunk and like nasty stuff, and it gets all over your book. It gets all over your book, Joe, and now it's 2024.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah,
it's terrible. Don't run through the props department or the makeup department. It's 2024, Joe. Acting did not work out, and you became a lawyer. And what do?
Well, you got big lawyer people adult money, so you spend your big lawyer people adult money on a new copy of NYX #3. First appearance.
New to you, yes, and you get the book back. That's a wonderful story that pulls at our heartstrings. I'm out of breath. 1 second here.
I'm crying again.
Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, don't be late to your auditions is the moral of the story with an expensive comic book. Well, it wasn't expensive back then, but whatever. Anyways, you all get the point. So we're gonna get into this, everybody. Mickey, are you ready? Do you know what your responsibility is?
I believe I do. I think I am ready.
Here we go. First up, we got Mike Haggs here. Marvel vs. March Madness is rolling along, and I'll be damned if Team Moon Knight loses to Bloodsucking Dracula. So here's one that doesn't even drop until this Wednesday. He got it a few days early, and this is in some tournament that really there's no context for this. So, but it's a cool submission right there. Well lit, nice background. And I'm still trying to catch my breath.
Jeez,
that was a
man.
tough one, Joe. That was a tough one. I
Okay.
went hard on that one. Next up, we got C to the G. This is a great submission, by the way. It's been a minute since last post Comic Fam. Life happens, felt burnt out, and had some comic fatigue going back to the end of last year. I had to step back and we're set. Hopefully I have more to share, but we're not quite there yet. In the meantime, however, I wanted to share this copy of X-Men Adventures #1. Since the animated series returned as well, that 2-episode premiere felt like an 8 a.m. animation. 8 8 a.m. Saturday morning 1 hour special with my favorite bowl of cereal in hand. Marvel Animation did a great job with this one. On a side note, that's not the Rogue I know. They nerfed her biggest asset. IYKYK, which means if you know, you know. That is a great submission, by the way. Very
That
well
one,
done.
Yeah.
What's that?
That image just makes my heart warm, you know?
Absolutely. We're here. And hopefully you heard our rendition of Joe and I doing the X-Men theme song.
Din, 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 din. Are we gonna keep going?
Anyway.
Wow.
Mickey, your first fresh get of the week. What do you got?
You know, it's funny. I actually have it right here. Got to go to my LCS this weekend. They got a new collection in, and I got a book that I've never owned this one before, but I found a Werewolf by Night #1.
Ooh.
Look at this
Look at
Bronze
that.
Age goodness. Pretty nice copy.
That
Yeah,
is a
it's
nice pickup
Some
right
Mike
there.
Plug art. What do you guys think of the window frame style?
I love it. Love it.
I
Yes,
love
man.
the Bronze Age border, I call it.
Yeah.
It's
I
it.
used to not like it, and I've my taste buds have changed. Like now, I'm like every time I see the window frame, I'm like, ooh, I like that.
It's
One
ahead,
thing I
Joe.
hate is that there isn't a lot of X-Men that has it other than the reprints. And I don't personally collect the reprint issues, but man, I love those covers, and X-Men is like one of the main things I collect. So I wish there were more of them.
For
What were you
sure.
gonna suggest?
I don't remember. I lost my breath. Moving on, we got Nori Jordan. Nori Jordan, by the way, he's going to explain it right here. I had 2 grails show up within a week, so I let my comic family decide which to show off first. Here is what they picked. There was one book needed to complete my Thunderbolts run, which was number 22, the 1 in 50 variant from volume 2. Due to the black cover, finding high-grade copies is tough, and raw copies were going for $150 to $250. 2 CGC 9.8s were listed with a price of $400 and $750, but those are not in my price range. I blinked and all the books were sold except the 9.8 with the $750 price. I thought I'd be out of luck, but found an auction for a CGC 9.8. I didn't have my hopes high, but I was able to win it for only $166. Woo! Arrived safely all the way from England and completed a long Thunderbolts journey. I have more goals for this team, but this submission is accomplished. Take care, everyone. Hopefully next week's submission does not miss its target. That is a great story right there. That tugs at the heartstrings, and that's what you get for not giving up. Joseph, by the way, y'all need to wait for Joe's last fresh get of the week, which will be the last one we show off. It's going to be one of the best fresh gets.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
Of all time.
So, like I mentioned, I did a con today. It was a one-day comic book expo. It was the first year they ever had this. Hundreds of people showed up. I don't even know what the total head count was. I'll have to ask the guy that booked it. Phenomenal local show in South Jersey at the Holiday Inn in Cherry Hill. And I did 3 trades. So I'm just going to share with you my 3 trades because I don't think I bought any collections this week, which is rare for me. Or I didn't buy any like significant collections, let's say. So I had an ASM 50 on my wall. And if any of you know Michael Raphael from Spineworks, he does CGC submissions, pressing and cleaning. He came up and he was like, I need an ASM 50 for my son's collection. And I want a raw one. I want that one on your wall. Let me take a look at it. And he took a look at it. I had it priced at $500, and he had this book that I wanted. This is Incredible Hulk #6, the final issue before the original cancellation of the Hulk run. Stanley story, Steve Ditko cover and art. First appearance of the Teen Brigade and Metal Master, and of course the last issue. A solid 3.5, which is an upgrade to my raggedy raw copy that I have. And he had 650 on it, and I said, I want that. My book's at 500. Yours is at 650. Can I give you 100 cash to make up the difference? He gave me the thumbs up. We did an awesome trade. His son got a book. I got a book for my PC. Everybody's happy.
Nice, Joe. Well done right there. You'd be mad if you ran through the props or the makeup department of Buffy the Vampire Slayer with that in your hand and got the blood
Yes.
up.
Well, at least it would just be on the slab.
I love those. The Hulk 1 through 6s are just, there's just something about them that are so,
Yeah.
they're always so cool. Like every time you see them.
Yeah. Someday I'll get a one. I have 2 through 6. 2 of them are graded and 3 are raw. Keep upgrading and eventually I'll get a 1.
You're gonna get one because of what happened to you today. I have no doubt.
Yeah.
Moving on, we have who do we have? We have where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Well, Josh's comics are gonna have to come back to you. I know you're in here somewhere. We got Raising Elm comics right here. Does it again, everybody. By the way, he is not eligible because Raising Elm is in the finals. Howdy, comic fam. Unlike this dim-witted duo, I finally scored a copy of Marvel's Beavis and Butthead issue #1. This issue is the first appearance of Beavis and Butthead in a standard comic, as much as it is Daria's first appearance. I can't. Jeez, it's been so long. He said ass munch. I can't do it. Anyways, I'll try doing it. Growing up, I wasn't really allowed to watch MTV or Beavis and Butthead, but occasionally I could sneak away and catch up on their crude yet hilarious antics, along with some great music. As a teenager, my best buddy and I would play the Beavis and Butthead video game on the weekends. The whole time, we would have our shirts pulled over our heads, shouting, "I am the great Cornholio. I need TP for my bunghole." With the revival of their series in recent years, I think it's safe to say this idiotic yet iconic pair have firmly cemented themselves into our pop culture history. That's for sure. Thank you, Joe, for hooking me up with this awesome book. It brings back memories. By the way, I have a question for Ask Joe. Could you two, Jeff and Joe, give your audience your best impression of Beavis and Butthead? Oh, my God. Why are you putting us on the spot?
All right. So
go for it, Joe.
Ready?
Fuck, dude.
You?
I am Cornolio. I need TB for my bunghole.
Was that good? that was
good. It's way better than mine.
Yeah.
That's a good combo.
I don't know. Mickey, you got one?
No, wait, you were doing it well. Wait,
I was doing it well?
Yeah,
Okay,
that
so
was good.
Like, you suck, dude.
I can't do it. Now I'm on the spot.
that's pretty good. That was pretty good.
Stop it.
In the top of the mountain, and it is good.
Joe, yours is much better. Anyways, my first fresh get of the week. These are all new books that I haven't read yet. But I just picked this up today. Transformers #6. Guess what? It's the Energon universe, everybody, and I love it. As a kid from the 80s, I love it. I heard there's a nice surprise in here too. Can't wait to read this one. But more importantly, let's move on to all these other people right here. Josh, I'm going to get to yours. It did not upload for some reason, and it makes me angry. But we're going to get to Scruffy's comics right here. Scruffy comics. I walked into my LCS. By the way, well done, Scruffy. Well done. I walked into my LCS this week and found this second printing, this Giuseppe Camicoli, sick Joker cover. Love me some Joker. Best Batman villain. And this book starts the Joker's year 1. And it's a pretty good read. This is the foil as well, I do believe, guys. Look at how this is great. This is great. I really like what he's done here, Scruffy. So excellent stuff indeed. Mickey, your second fresh get of the week. What do you got?
Yeah, well, this one is one that I got it technically a couple weeks ago, but I didn't talk about it or anything like that on camera. So I feel like I need to bring it out. And you guys want the more obscure stuff. So I thought I'd show off this one right here, which if you guys know what this is Diablo Tales of Sanctuary. If you guys know, Diablo is a video game, and I love video game related comic books. And this is from, I think it's like 2001. It is really difficult to find this comic book. It's not, it's not like super expensive, but it's very hard to find. And I was in my LCS and I was digging around. And for the first time in my 4 years of trying to find it in the wild, I finally found a copy. And here it is. There you go. The adaptation, the first Diablo comic book form. So pretty cool. It's kind of like it has more of like a trade shape. It's like shorter format.
Yeah, I was just about to ask that. And it looks like it's in excellent condition too, right?
Yeah, it is in really, really nice condition. It's got one little nit up there. But other than that, it was definitely unread. So I was super excited to find this.
Congratulations on that. I do know a little bit about Diablo. Joseph, you know about that book, right?
I actually did not know about that book. And I played Diablo a crap ton as a kid, so that's very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool indeed. I do want to, Dr. Plagueis, I read issue number 5 and it did have Devastator on there. So issue 6, Devastating. See, I'll have to read it tonight. Moving on, Josh, apologies, but here we are. Justice League of America number 61, 1968, Justice League Adventures number 29, and 2004 split decision. In 1968, a beautiful cover came out for Justice League of America. It features our heroes splitting in with their villains. 36 years later, Justice League Adventures pays homage, but this time it splits our heroes together. Enjoy this fresh from the comic shop, featuring one of the most important teams in comics. I won't disagree with that. But I like this submission right here. Again, I'm just so impressed with what Josh does now. Because again, he used to remember the picture he sent in, Joe, of the one where he by accident got his toes because he put it on his grandmother's shag carpet, and his bare feet were in there as well. And you saw like some of that toe fungus in there. Really,
I don't remember that at all.
He's come a long way. He has come a long way. Well done, Josh. I do like this submission quite a bit. Wonderful. Joseph, your second fresh get of the week.
Yeah. Okay. So listen, I collect Golden Age. I know a bunch about Golden Age. I'm not saying I'm an expert on Golden Age or anything. I found a new Golden Age artist today that I had never heard about until today, who may be my favorite Golden Age artist. And I kid you not.
It's been an eventful day for you, Joe. Let's just say this.
It really is. This is the work of William Ekren. He is a Scandinavian artist who only did 3 comic book covers ever.
Damn.
This is one of them. This is Weird Horrors number 7 from 1953.
Put it up to that camera, Joe.
Yeah, look at that. St. John Publications. And look at this. Everything is like very detailed line work. Like these are all lines that are making up these different parts of these creatures and stuff. He only did 3 covers. He did Weird Horrors number 7, also Weird Horrors number 6, and then I think the other one was Strange Terrors number. I forget what the number. But they're all by St. John's, and they actually were purchased by the editor and the owner of St. John's Publications, and they weren't intended to be comic art. They were just his art that he did. They purchased it. They used it as comic art, and he was only on 3. And it's such a unique style, especially for the 1950s.
My God,
really cool. I got these in a trade today, and like I said, I'd never heard of this guy. I ended up coming home, and I was laying on the couch because I was exhausted before the show. I spent like a solid 45 minutes just reading about this guy. There's like a lot of known information about him. He was a diagnosed schizophrenic, and his art was the way he kind of dealt with that. But there's also like not a lot of information. It says he was born in 1918, but I have not found any record of his death. So he might be still alive and over 100 years old at this point.
This looks like a comic book canon mystery, and we may need to do an investigative report.
That's some deep cut, deep lore.
Dude, I know.
Creator right there.
That'd be
Mickey, I know you're not super into Golden Age. You're more of a Silver Age guy, right?
I'm more Silver Age. I do enjoy Golden Age quite a bit.
Have you ever heard of this guy?
No. Yeah.
I got to talk to your boy Automatic Comics because he has a pretty good depth of knowledge on Golden Age stuff, and I got to see if I can figure out any more information on William Ekren, Ekgren. So cool. Got those in a trade for a ASM 14, by the way. First appearance of Green Goblin. I got a couple back from CGC last week and traded it for these 2 and a couple other Golden Age books.
Those would fall under unique.
They're definitely unique.
He only did 3 covers, 3 comic book covers. You have 2 of them. So well done, Joseph. Well done indeed. And our final submission from the audience. What's that?
Go ahead.
Final submission from the audience is Nukes Comics, our 2023 tournament champion. As I was saying, depth of field right here. Fresh from the comic shop, Amazing Spider-Man 394, Power Responsibility Part 2. Judas Traveler is causing trouble at Ravencroft. Will he harm or help the inmates there? Spider-Man stalks Judas, but who hunts Spider-Man? And wait, get this, there's a clone of Peter Parker. Words by DeMatteis and art by Bagley. I picked up this newsstand copy from DBS. Good stuff indeed. Well done, Nukes. Well done indeed. And here we go. I'm going to give my second fresh get of the week real quick.
Before you do that, I just want to note that last book was one of the earliest books I bought off the shelf as a kid.
Oh, interesting.
That book, it must have come out in 95, maybe early 96, but that was part of my childhood PC and definitely one of the early books that I bought.
Damn, so you were like heavily impacted by like Bagley.
Oh yeah. I thought Judas Traveler and Ben Reilly were the coolest characters in the world because that's what I came into comics at.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Little Joe, 5-year-old Joe.
Right.
All right. Again, these are new books. We've talked about how awesome the Ultimate line is. This is Ultimate Black Panther #2. I got it today, finally. Really behind on a lot of stuff. It's hard for me to get out to the comic shop the past couple weeks, but there I am. All right. So what's going to happen here? We're going to go one more time through for our third fresh gets of the week. Joe will be last. That'll give Mickey some time to decide on 3 that impressed you, but we got to move 1 to the semifinals. So I'm going to go first because why not? Well, yeah, because your guys' books are going to be better. I know Joe's will. But actually, maybe not. I think, Mickey, you may have read this. I just feel like this is right up your alley right here. And I was raving about this book. This is a different cover, but I got this. I wanted this cover, and it wasn't available to me when I first got it. But it's the Batman First Night #1, but this is the pulp variant. How dope is that cover?
That is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Freaking love it. And I cannot recommend this story enough. So good. Prestige format here. It's just an outstanding read. I highly recommend it, but I was very, very happy to get this cover because this is the one I wanted. So right there, pretty stoked for that.
My LCS ran out of that one. I was so bummed, and I haven't been able to find
that was the favorite cover out of all of them. So
yeah,
I mean, the
cool
cover A is awesome too. Don't get me wrong, but that cover right there. And by the way, props to Josh, our Adam Schefter of the Canon. He was the one that got me onto this one because I didn't even hear about it, and I was like, "What?" And then I, researched it like is 2 months before it came out. So, anyways, Mickey, your last fresh get of the week. What do you got?
Well, I know Joe has a big book. I don't mean to show him up, but I felt like treating myself a little bit.
Okay, go ahead.
So I ended up getting a Action Comics #1, guys. In a
Damn it, Mickey!
5, Kansas City pedigree. It cost me a lot of money.
Wow.
But, a few 10 million, but I got it. So it's in my collection. Just the camera, just don't. Okay, yeah. And so I got it now. So that's my.
Wow.
That is incredible.
Yeah,
He did show you up.
Yeah, sorry, Joe.
Yeah, I can't beat
X-Men 1, Jim. Your X-Men 1 from the 90s really, doesn't compare to that.
No.
Yeah,
Jim Lee X-Men 1, yeah.
So I maybe one day I'll get the 9-2 Action 1. One day.
Ooh, a little upgrade, if you will.
Yeah. Placeholder copy.
Yeah, again, there's the Jim Lee X-Men 1. There's probably a few million copies of that. There's a little bit less than the one you just showed us, Mickey.
Yeah.
A little bit less.
A little more.
Did you have another book you wanted to show us for your third fresh get?
Sure, I'll do a quick one here. I was obviously in the bronze section with my Mike Plug Werewolf by Night 1, and I also got this one here. Another a Man Thing book.
Yeah.
Ventured into Fear #11.
That's
First, nice. Jennifer Kale, supposed to be in the Agatha show. Not that big of a deal, but it is what it is. It's a nice copy and a Neil Adams cover. So
great cover. Look,
you got a little pentagram, crazy kid drawing in the thing. So you know where my head is at with my.
I love that cover, and
yeah,
definitely a cool book too.
Because it's the green with the Man Thing. It just looks so great together.
And that's a relevant book for the current multiverse saga, because that's the first time they bring up, if I'm remembering correctly, the nexus of all realities, which is kind of the center of all the timelines of the universe and stuff.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
All right. So, Joe, you're claiming you have this big book.
A big book that I was not planning on getting.
What could it possibly be? I mean, like, honestly, we did have Dinesh Shamdasani on, and he had an AF-15.
That's true. I can't beat that. I can't beat that.
Okay, so what do you got?
Show it. Show the picture.
Oh, you want to start with the picture?
Sure, put it up there, and I'll explain the whole story.
Explain the story, please.
I was at a con today. This gentleman came in. His name is Bill. He owns My Comic Mania in Delaware, and he came into the show in Jersey, and he came up to a couple booths. So I was watching him walk around, and he and coincidentally, I actually just met his daughter recently, who is also she works for the store and is big into comics. He came up to me and he said, "Hey, I'm asking the dealers if you guys want to do a trade. Like I'm looking to kind of trade one big book for a bunch of inventory for me to sell. It's easier for me to sell lower value stuff." And I said, "What do you got?" And this gentleman pulls out a freaking X-Men 1, which is an absolute grail of mine. You can see that smile on my face. It's low grade. It's probably a 2.0 to 2.5, I think, at best. It definitely needs some work. And the reason I'm showing you a picture of it is because I already handed it to Paul Bond, who is going to be pressing, cleaning, and all that stuff. That's why I don't have it in hand right now. So it's kind of hard to see in this picture, but down on the table, there's some raw books. There is a Secret Wars 8. There is an Iron Man 1, and there is a Batman 232, which is the first appearance of Ra's al Ghul. In his hand, there is a 9.8 modern variant slab, in addition to 3 big slabs, a 9.8 first Gambit, 9.4 first Deadpool, and a 7.5 giant size X-Men 1. That was the big cut of things. And we did a trade. It came out, both books, both his book and my collection of books came out to somewhere between $5,000 and $6,000. And this was the biggest trade that I've ever made, especially for a single book. And I am the proud owner of an X-Men 1 now, and I'm very excited.
That is incredible. I wish you had the book in hand. I was a little, I'm actually a little at a loss for words because I feel like we're cheating the public. But I do know somebody that we should have show it again. We should have somebody on next week to have on as a guest who does own an X-Men 1 right now, because possession is 9/10 of the law. So Paul, feel free to come over and show off your X-Men 1. Love to see it. No, seriously, congratulations. When you told me that, I was just like, wow.
I couldn't believe it. Every person that walked up to the table that I know, I was like, yo, I just traded for an X-Men 1.
That's crazy.
Like, I made multiple phone calls. Like, I called my wife. I called James from Mint Hunter Comics. I called a couple other people. I was like, yo, I just traded for an X-Men 1.
That's incrable. So congratulations to you. Looking forward to seeing it come back hopefully it gets back to you. But that's a good way to close out our part of this segment. Mickey, you still have some responsibility here, and I don't want you to kind of take this for granted, this responsibility. Great power, great responsibility, et cetera, et cetera. So don't mess this up. All right. So give us 3 that really stuck out, and 1 has to move on. And time out. I think we should add the judge here. Judge, how are you, sir? Your Honor.
Hear ye, hear ye. Court is now in session. The Honorable Dan Dilatori presiding.
Thank you, Judge. Appreciate that, Judge. Everybody,
remove your hat, sir. Bailiff, remove your hat, sir. Please.
Oh, say can
you don't have to sing. No, you're going to lose half the audience here.
Anyways.
And get off my lawn, by the way, too.
So, everybody, if you like and enjoy what you see in here, please like and subscribe to the channel. Happy to have Swaggle House on. This is the biggest responsibility of the show for our guest, as he knows. So let's do it. What do you got?
All right. Well, there was a lot of great selections, a lot of great books, but there were a few that stood out to me, and I have my own biases, but the one I have to call out first is C to the G with X-Men Adventures and the Marvel trading cards. I mean, I think it's very timely post with X-Men 97. Brings us all the member berries, and shout out to the Marvel card. I love the combination there. So that was the one that stood out. I also got to shout out Nukes with the Bagley Spider-Man, because I too, like Joe, remember getting this comic book when I was a kid and loving Mike Bagley. That was kind of like our era, I would say, of Spider-Man in a way. I was a little bit behind Todd McFarlane, if I'm being truthful.
No old man jokes, please. No old man jokes. Dan will get
the other one I would shout out is I think it was like Mike had a Moon Knight book. It's a new Moon Knight book, and the reason I shouted out is because I'm reading this on Marvel Unlimited right now. I haven't read this issue, but I started it and I enjoy it with McKay. So it just kind of made me think about it, and I was like, oh, I like this. I'm reading this.
Okay.
So those are kind of my three that stood out to me. And if I had to pick a winner,
You did.
I kind of have to go with C to the G with the X-Men Adventures. It's X-Men 97 week. There's Marvel trading cards. How can you not pick this one?
I mean, not a bad pick right here, I have to say. Judge, I got the paperwork for you. I'm just going to hand it off to you.
Got it.
Okay.
Got it.
Can we get that signed? Is everything clear
Sign it.
here?
Let me look it over first. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay. Everything looks to be above board. Saying it. Case dismissed.
All right. C to the G, you are moving on to the semifinals of March to compete for this book right here. Thanks to EGS and Spider-Dude Comics. This amazing Spider-Man number 25, the Scotty Young variant. Really good. I love this. Love. Look at that custom label up the top right there. Tony does a great job, as well as Spider-Dude. All right. So this has been an excellent show, I got to say. Dan, I'm going to put you on mute. All right, Your Honor, I'm sorry. I'm going to put you on mute because we're hearing an echo, not to disrespect you. Thank you. So, Mickey, thank you so much for joining. Again, everybody, for realsies, we have Sanity Kickstarter down below. Issues 2 and 3 will be coming out, I think, was it this fall?
Yeah.
This fall. So, again, already, listen, he made his goal, but it's well worth everybody in the comic book community to support a creator that's part of the community as well. Not only that, it's a great book. I'm not bullshitting you. Joe will back that up as well.
Yes, I nodded.
He was hesitant. That is awful.
Remove the laser pointer off of Joe. Thank you.
So, Mickey, any final words for this episode this evening, please?
No, just once again, guys, thank you so much for having me on. It's always an honor. It's always a privilege. You guys run a great show. In all seriousness, I don't know if the people in the chat know how much work and effort and execution it takes for Jeff to run the show the way he does, keeps it moving, keeps it smooth. There's some hiccups every now and again, but like a DJ, like there's pressure in the moment of like having to mix to the next song. So, Jeff, you always do a great job. So thank you so much for including me and kudos to you for always putting on such a great show. So thank you guys once again. And Dan, always great to share the screen with you. It's always good to see you, MVP of the community. And Joe, once again, congrats on the X-Men one. That's huge. So yeah,
I do want to say two things to correct. This show is Joe and I, and Chris built it to what it is as well. So it's not just me doing all this stuff. But also Dan, you called him Dan, and when it's this segment of the show, it's Your Honor. So that is absolutely disrespectful. I'm
sorry.
Here we go.
I got to start with one thing before I go. Forgive the echo. I'm sorry about that. Who is this ambulance chasing lawyer that you had on to defend the canon? Well, I wasn't consulted.
You're a judge. You can't represent us.
I still know lots of legal people, sir. So again, let's meet in my chambers after the show.
Sorry for the disrespect, Judge. Anyways, as always, it's always a great Sunday night. This takes us out of like the real world for 2 hours or so. So I'm happy to be here. Joseph, You have the final say tonight. But before you do, I just want to remind everybody, congratulations to Nukes Comics on the 2023 tournament champion, Fresh from the Comic Shop tournament champion, which could not have been done without Tony and Dave with EGS and Spider Dude. So ecstatic to have us as partners and make Fresh from the Comic Shop very special. And one more thing about Fresh from the Comic Shop, the Chet G-Pot trophy. A moment of silence for 5 seconds, please. And that's enough. Joseph, your final words before we kick out of here.
Yeah, I got like 4.5 hours of sleep last night. I spent 12 hours yesterday getting ready for the con. I was at the con all day today, moving boxes around, packing up, packing in, getting it all back to my house, all that stuff. If this had been work, if this had been another function or something like that, I would have canceled. I would have called out. But this is comic book canon, and the show must go on. And I have fun here every single week. And even though I'm about to fall asleep, and I probably will be asleep in the next 10 minutes, it's so worth it. Struggling through these last couple hours of the night. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Mickey. Thank you, the Honorable Dan, Your Honor, whatever we're calling him. And thank you, Jeff. Thank you all for watching. And have a good night.
I forgot to say, we do have Fresh from the Comic Shop t-shirts down below. We are going to need a legal fund, even though we make millions and millions of dollars. So that link is down below as well. But if you have money, it has to go to Sanity or Fresh from the Comic Shop t-shirt. It goes to Sanity. Now, anyways, everybody, thank you all for joining. We will see you next week, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, every Sunday. Until then, be good to yourself and be good to others, please. Peace.